Greetings, everyone. This is Professor Donna, and I wanted to review the Week 1 Assignment 3 video with you and review it and go over my expectations in regards to the assignment. So first, let's start with here at South University, we use APA formatting for our papers. This includes the proper cover page, the proper formatting, along with proper in-paper citations and reference pages. So if you are unfamiliar with the APA format, please know in the bibliography area you will find some videos that were created by South that are very helpful in understanding and showing how to set up the APA format for your assignments. So that is expectation number 1. Number 2 is that remember, if you paraphrase information that you learn, then you need to put the proper in-paper citation. The other thing is if you do a direct quote, it should have the proper quotation marks along with citations as well. The next thing with writing papers is that papers should have the proper format. Essay papers should include a proper introduction with a proper thesis statement, then the proper body of the report along with a conclusion. So we want to put our best foot forward and always use proper writing techniques. So this paper should be multiple paragraphs, and we have 3 bullet points, and each bullet point should have a proper paragraph at least at a bare minimum. Okay, so that's the writing purpose out of it. Let's go into the assignment. Our assignment this week is about free trade and the free trade movement that began back in the 90s when President Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, which was the North American Free Trade Agreement that was between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So that was one of the early things of free trade, and since then it has continued. We do have free trade agreements with different countries, but not with every country. So those are things you want to keep in mind as well. So this is free trade. Free trade has to do with importing and exporting of goods, because in the old days when I was a kid growing up, importing and exporting of goods meant that in order to bring something into the U.S. or to ship it out of the U.S., you had to pay additional taxes and tariffs to get it there. So this paper, we want to look at free trade, and we want to know, does the benefits outweigh the drawbacks? First of all, everything has pros and cons. So your first bullet point, or your first thing is, 1, looking at those. Okay, so according to the grading rubric, you are to identify 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage to free trade. So you want to keep that in mind. And so then you want to look at your position. And that's a tough position because some people are for it, some people are against it, and some people are just not sure. Okay, so you got to look at both of those. Then you want to support your positions by looking at one of the following. You want to look at a specific business that's in your area that has been vulnerable to layoffs or downsized as a result of outsourcing of operations, or an example of a business that was created or grown. Because remember, free trade is a two-way street. It's not always about everything going out. Free trade is also about business coming in. Pardon me. And then a specific example that talks about the increase or decrease of a product due to cost, quality, or differentiation. So that's one of your examples. So if we look at the grading rubric, where I'm going to be looking for your introduction, I'm going to be looking for an advantage and disadvantage. I'm going to be looking at your position, whether you are for or against it. Believe me, I'm not counting off if you're for or against it. Let me clarify that right up front. But you do need to have references and support that position with credible and verifiable references. This is why I always recommend that you utilize the South University Library, because the internet in itself is just out there and anybody can put anything online. And we have to be careful about our sources because some sources provide bias. And by that I mean they want to show you just what they want you to know about it, rather than looking at all sides. For example, one of the things, let me just tell you, I do not consider any blogs as credible for college and academic work. They might be in everyday life, but we're talking about supporting for college work. Wikipedia, Wikis, Investopedia, those types of sites are also not credible sites. So we want to make sure we're looking at credible and verifiable sources, not one-sided bias sources, okay? You provided specific examples. And by specific, I want to make that clear, is you need to tell me more than the local business in my, the XYZ corporation in my local area shut down due to free trade. Well, that doesn't explain to me, and it's not specific. So I'm looking for the detail of why you think free trade hurt them or helped them, okay? And I may not be familiar with your local area, so you need to be really specific in the detail. Okay, the last but not least is that you wrote in a clear, concise, and organized manner. So I'm looking for proper writing techniques in that. That's worth 10 points. That is your introduction, your body, your conclusion. Did you have the proper words spelled correctly? Proper punctuation? Did you have the quotes, etc.? So that's where I'm looking for, and that's for a total of 50 points. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Have a great